Hello people and welcome to the channel Deveeyv, and in this video I will show what I learned in today in this week. This week I tried to learn how to make the player move in a 2D game, and I think I have learned. In this kind of videos I will just say some steps, some details and etc. about my learning process. Okay, I have three little things to say before we start. So first, just remembering this is not a tutorial, so I won't explain exactly what the codes or what each line do. Okay, so the second thing, I will tell every single time on the start of the video how I learned, and based on the video or article, forum, documentation, etc. So I will give all the credits. Okay, I won't like just copy and paste. I will say my reference. And the third little thing, I have switched my default code editor to Visual Studio Code because I used the Visual 2019 community, but my laptop, it's kind of old. It's actually really old, so I don't have like the best settings to run all the things. And when I try to record and use the community Visual Studio, my laptop freeze. I would like to learn the Visual Studio like by raw, so it's like worth to me both. As I said, the main goal of this week is to learn how to make the player move on a 2D game. Okay, so I don't recommend you to use this in a top-down 2D game or even a endless run 2D game, because the movement is is the best one. First, I have created the Unity project on 2D settings. Before I start, I would like to say my reference to this week. I have watched, I have used, I have learned with the video of this channel, Tactical Programmer. So it's really cool. I really like to watch this video and I really recommend. The second reference is the Unity docs documentation. It's really important to read the documentations. Obviously, I didn't read all the things at once. I have a lot of things to read, but it's the reference because I use them. Some forums and other things I have read it too, but it's not like the main basis. The main base is the video, the player movement 2D, okay, of Tactical Programmer. So first I created the 2D Unity project. Then I renamed the scene to Platform Player Movement. Then I created the materials folder. The materials folder went, and I clicked on Create 2D Physics Materials 2D, and I renamed to Slippery and set the friction to 0. These materials basically in these settings work as to make not the things stick on it. So for example, if you want to create an icy ground, you can use this slippery physics materials, these settings, to make the ground slippery. I use it on the wall, and the script folder I have created the player movement script, and I will show the code. So then I create the player, the ground, and the wall. I clicked on the right button to the objects, sprites, and square for the player. I added the box collider, the rigid body, and I changed the body type to dynamic and collision detection to continuous. Not only this, the constraint, I freeze the rotation in z-axis. I create the same 2D square sprite to the wall, and I added the rigid body and the box collider. The box collider by default and the rigid body just to set the material, and the body type static and the material to the slippery. And the ground, I just added the box collider. I create an empty game object and renamed to the world. I have created to the layer, just clicking on add layer and set one layer to for the ground, because we need to use it to set the things about jump working on this player movement script. I have deleted the two first lines because it's not necessary. Use the collections, but not always. In this context, we didn't use those imports, so we can remove them of the code. First, I created the variables before anything, and then I created the functions. So first, the header tag. The header tag is basically the brackets, the header with the H uppercase, parentheses, double quotes, and then some string. This tag is just to make the things on the inspector, to make a visible description on the inspector. If I click on player and see the player movement, you can see the components: layer mask, ground collision variables, movement variables, jump variables, and etc. This is what the header do. So back to the code. And the second tag is the serialized field. When we are creating an app, a software, a website, or even a game, we are using the data. We have to make the things secure. So that's why we use the keyword private, because we have three: public, protected, and the private. The public, it's by itself. The protected we use to make the inheritance, and the private we set the variable. This variable is only accessible in this class. So this is important to make the data secure. But we sometimes need to edit, customize the values. So we can use this tag serialized field to make this field editable on the inspector. Then I create all these variables. I use the underscore because this makes our variables like unique. So if we start with the underscore r, we won't see the suggestion. We will get only this. So that's important to make the things faster. So I've created these functions to get the rigid body, to make the input dynamic, the jump functions, the fixed updates. We make the to check the collision on the ground. We move the player. We set the ideas of the jump, double, triple, or whatever jumps. And the way we move the player, we need to create this linear and the fall multiplier to make the things work right. We had the gap input to make to check if the player pressed some key. We have the function to move the player. Actually, we have the R linear drag, as I said, ground linear drag to make the acceleration. We have the jump function. We have the check collisions, and sometimes this bug, but I think it's working properly right now. We have this draw on gizmos to make the things to check the ground, and the fall multiplier. as you can see, I have some default values, but depends on how the size of your player, the size of the things you need to change these default values. So that's why important you just don't copy and paste. You need to test it and see if this works on your scenario. As you can see, I have some different values here. Just remember, the serialized field make this input boxes show here. So as you can see, it's so smooth. This is so cool to see working. And oh, I did this. Obviously, thanks for the tactical programmer. I really like this a lot. So this is how I learned, or the steps I have taken to learn how to make the player 2D movement. Okay, so in the next video, I don't know, the subject of the next video won't be related to player movement because I don't want to saturate these things, but I will try to learn something cool. So thanks for watching, and I see you in the next video. Just remembering all the main source as the video I will leave on the description down below. Okay, so thanks for watching, and I see you in the next learn vlog. There is a devlog, maybe a learn vlog, I don't know. So thanks for watching, and I see you. Bye bye, see you.